In fact, Metropolitan Anthony Bloom, in his books, which are wonderful, talking about prayer, beginning to pray, school for prayer, all these. He talks about so this older lady comes and says, "Well, how should I do this? It sounds so complicated." And he says, "Well, make yourself a cup of tea, sit back in your favorite chair by the window, and have a cup of tea with God." And just be silent with God. And very simple. And the Desert Fathers who developed this theology were, for the most part, illiterate, who developed these practices. But they knew that they needed to focus their attention and to be completely present to God. And because what prayer is all about is being present to God. God is present to us, but are we present to Him? Usually not. We're thinking about other things, we're distracted, we don't want to be there, our feet hurt, So it's learning how to focus and be present to God and with the remembrance of God as the core principle. Now, remembrance, there's the remembrance of God as a rational act. I remember that God exists, right? It's an objective statement. But remembrance of God is not an objective, rational statement. I remember that God exists. It's consciousness of God and consciousness in God. I am conscious in God. I know God. You can't. It transcends our ability to even speak it, because all speech is necessarily rational thought forms, right? But it's this awareness of God, and so contemplative prayer, on its fullest, manifestation, is about learning how to be present to God in complete silence. Silence of body, where you literally do not move. You're not tapping your foot and twirling with your beard and playing with your hair, and other things. And you're not. You're silent in your body. You're silent in your mind. Cutting off all thoughts, all images, all concepts. And there's only God. So only God. But to get there, there's a few thoughts that are helpful. One is knowing that God is present, or knowing God's presence. And B, completely surrendering the totality of our being to God. Our will, our life, our thoughts, our consciousness, our desires, everything. Absolute, complete surrender to God. In other words, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. The first part is, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. In other words, our acknowledgement that God is our Father and He is holy. That's what hallowed means. He is holy. And the name is the person, the presence. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. In other words, total surrender to God. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. How often is it, my kingdom come, my will be done? Because for the most part, that's what we're thinking, right? My kingdom come, my will be done. I want this, this, and this, and this, and that way. But we have to shut all that off and simply be present to God. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. It's the Our Father is a prayer of absolute, complete surrender to God, right? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done does not mean my kingdom come, my will be done. It means it's all yours. And so, this. So this is the ultimate paradigmatic prayer, is the Our Father. But what it does is it is a means by which we ascend beyond our rational mind into our spiritual awareness, so that we can begin to pray with our spirit and not with our nous, and not simply with our rational mind. Because if we surrender all of our rational mind to God, what are we thinking? What can we think? What if it all belongs to Him? And so this concept of surrender is very important in the Christian life. And it means letting go of everything.